live apparently. Having a lot of issues. Hopefully it's okay. We'll see how it goes. I got my headphones in just so I can hear my voice. Make sure it's coming through. Alright. I feel like it is, so I'll probably put the headphones down. Oh boy, it's just one of those days. One of those nights. So, good evening. Wanted to do some noodling in Worldographer, but I'm not sure if I can because my laptop seems to be running super heavy. Super heavy CPU. Just to see how it goes. Yeah, and I'm not sure what's happening with my laptop. I have an older MacBook Pro. It's fairly, I don't want to say beefy, but it's fairly okay. Though it's old. Now I'm finding that I'm trying to run stuff and I want to run it, but it doesn't want to run. So I was going to fire up Worldographer. I will give it another try, but apologies in advance if something goes horribly wrong. I thought I already unzipped it. I downloaded a new version. So there was a new version. Updated. Downloading it. Let's see. I'm going to drag it into my applications folder. It's going to ask me if I want to replace it. I do. Alright, and once I get it on there, I will switch windows so we can see it. But let's see what happens. Oops. Let's see what happens to the stream once I try to do this. I don't know why I'm not trying to run this. I don't have so I use Wirecast. I used to run OBS, but there was a whole thing with OBS and Mac OS, whatever the latest OS is. And some people have gotten into work. It totally foobarred my setup. And so I had to switch and find another alternative. So I've been using Wirecast. I actually have a piece of hardware that I'm waiting. Coronavirus, messed a whole bunch of stuff up, and one of the things that messed up was this piece of hardware that I ordered that would help me with a lot of the streaming, and I think it would help with some of these CPU, GPU, laptop bottlenecks because it would handle some of the encoding on its end, and so it would kind of offload it from the laptop. It cost a little bit of chunk of change. Thanks to patrons and people who supported me, it helped me make that happen. But it's been back ordered now, and not really back ordered. They call it back ordered, but really it was something that was a new version came out. I plunked down the money for it. It was one of these coming soon, and then the coronavirus and everything hit, and who knows when they're going to be hitting retailers and people who are shipping it. I've checked a couple of different places just to see if it was just the place I ordered it from that doesn't have it, but nobody has it. I even sent them a tweet at one point asking them, hey, what's the deal? They didn't respond. So hopefully sometime soon that will come and that will help alleviate some of this. In the meantime, Wirecast is telling me that I'm hitting between 70 and 80% CPU. But Worldographer appears to be up and running. But I haven't generated a map yet. I like to do, and I've done a Worldographer kind of noodling video before. What I kind of like to do is I just like to run something random. I don't have a... Uh-oh, the stream's telling me that my bitrate has dropped, so apologies already for that. I don't have a set setting. I mean, I suppose maybe I should, but I don't. I tend to just change it up when I'm doing things. It'd probably be cool if I had just one setting I could just keep going back to and develop over and over again. Maybe this will be that setting. Maybe this is the setting that I will work on for years and years to come. But I don't have one currently. So I just like to kind of go and rough something out. There's my cats both around. Rough something out, see different areas I like. Sometimes it's just I like it because you just get some inspiration, right? You just see something and you go, oh, that's a cool area, and that makes you want to do stuff. Let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to. Yes, Betty, I hear you. I hear you, Betty. I know, Betty. I know. My one cat Betty is very vocal. She knows what she wants, and she knows how to get it. Something like that. She knows what is it? She knows. I don't know. She knows something. She knows something. All right. I'm gonna try to get this going here. Worldographer. Okay, that's there. It is blank, so I haven't done anything yet, but let's see. Alright. Did that do anything? Anything now? Anything now? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. So if I go back. Alright. If I go back. Okay. Alright, so you can hear me here, presumably, but not here. I've got the zoom. I've got... Alright, so I use a mixer, and it's showing me that in the mix, the mixer's coming through. I see the old audio things in Wirecast telling me I have audio. Everything is telling me I have audio. But you guys aren't seeing audio, or you're hearing audio. Let's see, was YouTube saying anything? Not enough video. Well, yeah, I get that. Alright, so... Alright, just want to make sure. Can you hear me now in the... Did I fix whatever it was that needed fixing? It's silly to keep talking. Nobody can hear me scream. That may be my family, which probably wouldn't appreciate hearing me scream. Awesome. Alright, I'm back. So apologies for the video. Seems like it might be stuttery, and that's my CPU. Alright, so we got two volcanoes here. Seem kind of cool. I don't know, I'm not a person, one of the unfortunate things if you go on some of the Reddit groups, some of the forums that are big into map designing, is they get really, really into the weeds on different details and what makes sense in essentially an Earth-like planet with Earth-like things happening. I don't really care much about that. I don't care if somebody's going to tell me that there's no way that these two volcanoes would be here, and there's no way that this would be like this, and you can't have rivers joining and doing that. I mean, one, oftentimes there's exceptions on Earth for those things. Maybe it just happens once or twice on our planet. But even just happening once means that it's possible that it could happen somewhere else, and plus these are all fantasy. These are all fantasy worlds. So, who cares? Middle Earth does not follow any rules. If you look at Mordor, those mountains are not following tectonic activity like we would expect on Earth. It's okay. I certainly don't care. I'm just going to kind of drag around, see what else we got going on here. Yeah. I got late night family people bouncing in the background, so. Alright. More trees and woods. Oh, we got another volcano. Right on the edge of the map. A little volcano island. That's kind of cool. Okay. I will say that Worldographer does a pretty good job of getting you different kind of habitats and biomes and whatnot. I mean, in a rough sense, it kind of, you got your Arctic sections at the top and the bottom, and then it'll throw in some stuff. I'm trying to remember if those hills are, I think they're just plain hills. The brown color always throws me out because I want to think of them as desert hills. And here we have hills, because, you have hills with trees, kind of forested hills. You have just sort of plain hills. I don't really know what I'm looking for. Just looking for something inspirational. Oh, now the video's out of sync. daughters woke up to use the bathroom, and now everyone's going back to bed. Yeah, so I guess the audio and video are not syncing up. I don't know what to do with that. There might be a delay I'm supposed to be putting on the webcam, but such things are beyond me. Sometimes it doesn't seem to need it, and then other times, like today, it does. Alright, so I'm just going to pick an area here. Now this is like the grand view, so we can zoom in multiple levels and see what's going on. I kind of like this peninsula here. I kind of like areas that they give you some natural borders. I think that's helpful, particularly when starting out. If you put people, I feel like you can put people in the middle of a giant space, and then they can just kind of go anywhere and do anything, and then maybe they will. And I tend to be the kind of person running games that I won't really artificially stop people from just, if they want to go, go. But I think if I can pick an area that kind of not forces them, but maybe just put some barriers there that kind of say, hey, maybe you should stick around this area. Oh, there's another volcano. Then it works. Like if you're playing on a sort of a British Isle kind of thing, you know, that the being surrounded by water like that, or Ireland, or any kind of other island environment, means that you have ways to, you know, slightly inhibit your characters, the player characters, from running too far afield because they're on an island. And you can always say, well, there are no boats, or the seas are too rough, or anything, if you really just want to stop them from leaving. But, you know, you have a nice compact area, even though you might have a whole world, maybe you're not ready for them to run into mainland Europe. So you can concentrate them. But this here is I like these mountains, but man, it seems like too many mountains. Well, the best thing with all that is that I can edit these to get what I want. And then when you zoom in levels, it's going to extrapolate from these, because remember, we're in a hex map, so this stuff is only representative of just the most numerous thing here, as opposed to the only thing here. So any of these hexes that's showing hill or forest or mountains, it's not necessarily just those things. It's mostly those things, or a majority of those things. More of that thing than of something else. Alright, so we got a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna... How do I move this thing over? No, it doesn't want to let me do that. Hold on a second, let's see if I can... I've got no horizontal scroll bar, or am I missing something? Worldographer is not cooperating. Alright. What do I have to get the scroll bar? Do I have to go way down here or something? Come on, Worldographer. This is the kind of thing where, like, the UI is just a little bit rough. I mean, it does so much cool stuff, and I really do enjoy using the software. And maybe it's just the way I have my Windows set, but like I've only seen the middle bunch of these icons, and I'm trying to see more. And I gotta kind of use. Can I use my arrow keys to go over? I can, but it's not opening the window. All right, let me see if I can widen the window this way. Hopefully, this won't affect what you guys are seeing too much. Okay, let me just check what you guys are getting. Yeah, I'm just going to widen that out just so I can see those icons all the way. Okay, I think that's good. So I want to want to paint this a little bit. Oh, we got some kind of underdark, but we're not in the underdark, so I'm not concerned about that. I just want to make it a little bit. I like this chain of mountains. I do like that, and I like that it's kind of got this hill sort of thing. And maybe it makes sense that it kind of snakes out here, and you have the, so here, right, you have the kind of natural border. That's cool, but I don't think I need this whole stack. I think so. I'm just repainting some of those. I'll probably change that to something else. So these are grassy hills as opposed to more bare hills. There's also forest hills. So here we have these evergreen hills. Maybe that makes sense in some of, say, over here. Maybe not next to the volcano, though. If it's, I think this is an active one, because they have a dead volcano, or maybe this is just unknown. So I'm gonna paint these. And here they gave us these. I guess these are tropical jungle. I'm gonna, since I've got kind of forest here, I don't need more. I don't need jungle. Whoops, but I will, you know what I will do though? I'll change these to mixed. So I'll make some kind of mixed. Make some mixed ones over here. Let's see, maybe, maybe that one makes sense to be mixed. I don't know, let's see. I'll do that over here too. And remember, I'm going to zoom in and it's going to go all wackadoo, and all this stuff's going to kind of change somewhat. So you can't be too. You don't need to be too picky, because each one of these is representing a large area. So we're going to zoom in, and hopefully the screen won't go crazy, and then we'll. Oh, they have a mountain, forest, jungle. Oh, they have mountain. Okay, so I'm gonna throw some of these out here. So here we can see we've got, oh, we got some evergreens. So here these are kind of mixed, and then we'll do evergreen there, maybe. And then, so here I'm kind of, actually, no, maybe I'll do this. And then I'll go back to the hills. We'll put some grassland hills in here. And then I'm going to fill in some more, not savanna, not steppes, grassland. See, like that. Yeah, no, we don't need any of those hills. Change that. Leave that like that. So here we have kind of a, now I guess, you know, one of the things to think about, I don't know, again, I just said I don't really care too much about real world stuff. I know that often when you have weather systems, so I don't know if you can see my cursor, but you have the basically weather systems will move across, and lines of mountains like this will generally stop it. So looking at something like I think California is kind of like this, where you have one side of the mountains, it's fairly good terrain, and the other side is more desert, simply because all the weather systems, all the rain stuff will hit the mountains and then kind of get stuck, and then that stuff won't get over. Obviously, I don't think that's the case all the time, and I'm sure there are plenty of examples where it weren't, but that might be something to look at and say, oh, maybe I'll make this more barren and desert-like. I don't know. Let's see. Well, looking here, where we are in terms of geography, we're kind of in, I guess, a more of a subtropics or tropic zone. So maybe it's not. Well, I guess the Sahara's in the middle. I don't know. I could do desert. I could throw some desert in there. Maybe I'll throw some desert in there. What the heck? Why the F not? If I can find some. Got broken land. We got mountains. Yeah, we got that. Dead forest. You know what? I'll put some. This makes sense around. Maybe that erupted. So we have this kind of mountainous dead zone. Then we can take. Let's see, we've got some hills. We got grassy hills. Where's my desert? Desert rocky, desert dunes, desert. Alright, so desert rocky is good. So I'm going to. Oh, let's see. Oh, let me stay on target. I'm gonna change these. Well, let me see. Hold on. Where's the hill? So well, it doesn't. I'll say, screw it. I'm just gonna. I'll put this in here. We'll see what happens when we zoom in. So I'm gonna say, there's our desert hills. I'll throw these as some kind of dune action. I'll put some coastal desert. Say here, and I'll put some sandy desert. Just fill this up. I wonder what would stop this desert from just continuing. What usually stops it? I don't know. Like what stops the Sahara or something similar from just extending out forever? I don't know. I mean, we have we have this whole volcano system. So maybe I gotta add some more mountains to kind of help contain this desert. At least that's how my brain is thinking. I don't know whether it actually makes any sense at all, or if somebody who knows this stuff would just say you crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So we have this desert region. I'm gonna replace that one. I don't think. And again, remember, this isn't like a travel map, and this is a global thing. So things like, oh, maybe that we got a beach. I'll just put coastal desert in there. Okay. So now what do we got here? Let me pull this up. See everything we have. We've got, and I don't know the size of it. I mean, I call this a peninsula. I guess maybe technically it is, but this is probably more like Florida in size, maybe even bigger. I have a feeling this is pretty big. I forget what each hex is in terms of size. Does it say? Tools. I can't see if there's something that says how big each hex is in as far as miles or anything, but it's probably pretty big. Alright, so I'm ready to zoom in, and this is another thing that I find often. Oh, let's see, terrain info. Oh. Wow, this thing's. Yeah, I could probably use like a height map. It's got 41 animals. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming they don't mean that there's literally just 41 animals. But alright, let's see. Now, how do I zoom? I could generate rivers. Should I generate river? I found that the river generation was a little bit funky. Alright, so let's go into a continent view. How many hexes should the child map have? To the parent map. 6 is good. That's filling in a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, got some. Wow, I got actual action in the chat. Let's see. Oh, slaughtering names here. I hope not. Durafin says hi. Thanks for all the content you put out, especially the hex crawl related videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Try. I'm glad they find them useful. They're by far my most popular videos. Let's see. Glad you find them helpful. Let's see. We're back. All right, we're done. I just gotta try to find out where it put me. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Is there an undo? There is. Here we go. I'm gonna change this to the. Is that right? I don't know where I am. Okay. Oh, I think I do know where I am. Yeah, so that's one of the things. So you zooming in the levels, you really got to reorient yourself because now everything is big, and I try to put myself near a landmark to kind of. So if we remember, there was a part on the map that had a little lake. It looked like the lake was right up next to the ocean, but as we can see, it's not that close. And so you can see that Worldographer has taken the hex from that main level. So if we were to look at these, the larger black outlines here, and if we were to look at the one that I have my cursor in, I think you can see my cursor that I'm kind of squiggling around in here. This one would have just had this hex in it, this grass hex. But you can see it, there's, you know, some of the mountains kind of tick in here, some of the deadlands tick in here, some of these other things, which I think maybe is like a swamp or something is in there. And so you'll see that things aren't, they don't perfectly fill the hex. And of course we could, I don't know, you know, we could add more features in there ourselves. I don't know if we were to say take this and totally change the majority of it, if we then went up a level, whether that would change the hex. Kind of would be cool if it did, but I wouldn't necessarily blame it if it didn't. So here's those forests that we put in up here, this line of mountains that we kept. Ooh. Sorry for the crazy scrolling, but it's very delicate. So now we're looking at a continent level. So I'm trying to think what, let's see, is this maybe 32 miles? Let's see, we're talking 1, 2, 3. So if this were 32, so I usually try to think in 5 or 6 mile hexes. So this is, we had 6 inside here, so this would be 36. Maybe this is 64 miles worth of terrain. I'm not exactly sure where in here I'd want to put people. There's, we got like a little island out there. That's kind of, I mean, it feels like an oddity. I mean, everything looks kind of funky in the hex maps because it, you know, it has no scale. It's just kind of, we got an island, but the reality is just have a little island there. That's cool. I like that. I mean, heck, that alone might be, whoops. What was I thinking? That's like 32 miles, maybe 36 miles. Nope, here comes my daughter again. Yes, Agnes. Yes. The joys of living in a small apartment. Alright, so let's see what else we got going on. this kind of forest area. This, I don't know, there's something about these green tones, it's kind of cool. I don't know, I just like how they all kind of fit together. We've got some interesting things here to work with. Prototypical elf territory, if we were doing prototypical elves, be a good spot. That's the other thing that's nice when you're looking at places you want to put parties. You want them, you know, you want to have access to different terrain types. Makes for just more adventuring possibilities. Just gives you things, different places to go that your party can experience. Oops, hold on 1 second. Good night. My daughter was off screen petting our cat, one of the 2 cats, but now I've sent her off. It's late for her. Okay. Things we have to do. How does one juggle streaming and parenting at the same time? You don't. You send the kid to the other room, you send him to bed. Or you have him get on the stream, but I'm not trying to get my daughter involved in all this stuff yet. She's only 6. Alright. So we got the lake. It's a big lake. Maybe even an inlet. I have to look and see at some point, because that could, I don't know, how big is like the Baltic Sea? Would that be the same size as that, or is that, no, maybe something small, I don't know. At least this is a fairly large inland lake. Certainly it's wide. So here we've got grasslands, which will be good for having towns and settlements and things. That's what they need. We've got mountain ranges, which is good if we want to have mining, if we want to have the stereotypical dwarf habitat, or just stuff that comes from the hills. We've got the deadlands, when we can have a lot of fun with that as a environmental change of pace. What could be in there, and we could talk about all the things that, say, the volcano did to create this deadlands area. Potentially we have natural barriers too. If we want to say for the first few levels, first few adventures, we want to keep the party in this area. We've got natural borders that make it difficult, particularly for low-level parties, to get across. Mountains are not easy. Maybe there are no good passes here. Maybe it's, usually I play, kind of old-school rules, so the mountains are dangerous. These deadlands also could be very dangerous. Volcano is dangerous. But there's points of interest. There's places they could go. And then we have lots of different things we could throw in there. We got these forests up here, depending where we put it. I lost my spot. Where was I? Let's see. We got this big forest area, forested mountains. Yeah, so anywhere in here I feel like is a good starting area. Here we have hills, combination of hills and grassland. I don't know what that is with the speckles. What is that supposed to be? I wish you could kind of just go over and highlight it. Poor, oh, okay, I think that's poor grassland. So if this is very fertile, this is not so fertile. I'm not sure what those mean. They're supposed to be, I don't know, bugs? Lack of bugs? I don't know. Who knows? We, as Willy Wonka said, we are the music makers. We can decide what that is. So I like this area. I'm just going to put a couple things down here, just as much to just give me points of reference for when we zoom in again. I think, let's see if I want to put a... Okay, I need to see what's these layers. And layer above. No, I don't want to do that. I want features. I think features is what I want. Well, not those kind of features. Here we go. These kind of features. But again, letting me down. You're letting me down, Worldographer, because you're not letting me see the whole thing at once. Let me pull this over. Let me pull this over so I can see, make sure I'm seeing all the icons. I could have got, okay. Alright. I got train tracks. Look at that. I just want to lay down a few things. What's that? Settlement camp. I want something more than a camp. Port. Alright. That's fine. Settlement port. We'll put it... There we go. Ooh, we got a ruins. Town. We got a village. I'm just going to start throwing some things down just to kind of see. So we got, let's see, we got one. Now I forget, I got to move over again because I got to remember what's going on here. Is this one of these the ocean and one of them's the, or we got two lakes. Or that's the one lake and that's the ocean? Okay, yeah. I think. So, okay, I think that's right. So that's another port. Alright, so I'll put another one. Put it there. Let's see. So obviously, so I haven't put rivers. I think for rivers, again, you can have the app do rivers for you, but I think they, like I said, I feel like they kind of do some wonky things, so I'll probably do that later. I know a lot of people talk about, hey, you got to have settlements near water. That's usually true, unless there's some really good reason why they would move away from water, because water is life, and water is transportation, and water is all kinds of stuff. But, you know, fantasy game, and at this point, if I plunk something out in the middle of nowhere, I've got mountains I can connect to it through rivers and have it go up. Not concerned about that. So that's a ruin. I'm just gonna throw a ruin in here. Why not? All right. What's that? A settlement ruin. So we got two. Oh, that's a settlement city ruined. I don't think I want it to be a city. I'm just gonna undo that, and I'm gonna put in the settlement ruins. Ruins I like because they give you places to explore, obviously. What's this? Village, town. So I will put a town. We're still on the continent level. Maybe it's not right for towns. Maybe I'll undo that. I'll undo the town. So here I've got 3 settlements, a ruin. Let's see, more from the chat. Are there any good hex mapping programs you can recommend besides Worldographer? HexKit. HexKit is very good. So HexKit, which I have, I don't think I'm ready to run it. And I don't want to risk the delicate balance I have right now to pull it up. As far as I know, HexKit doesn't do these very large scale maps, and it doesn't have the multiple levels that Worldographer does. It's more for creating basically a flat map, but it can do layers and things. Well, I guess this can too, as far as, you know, I put these icons on top of layers. That's really nice. It's very artistic, has a really strong artistic touch. I think it does do, you can have it do classic icons, but maybe I think it's better served when you use some of the really amazing custom artwork that's done for it. That would probably be the one I would recommend. I feel like they have slightly different use cases just in terms of what, say, Worldographer can do, and it's giving you, you know, the world level, the continent level, the whatever, what's the next level called, the kingdom level, and just giving you all the, be able to put notes and things like that. Whereas I feel like with HexKit, and it's been a little while since I've worked with it, and maybe I'll do a video where I just, or one of these streams where I just go into HexKit, but I feel like HexKit was more for, say, an adventure level map, something you would have for your adventure, just that kind of local level. That's kind of what it's for, but it has a beautiful look. But yeah, those are the two big ones. Maybe there's some other ones out there. I don't know. Does Roll20 or any of those things have kind of hex map capabilities, or is it just imported images? I don't know. Place a town, pick pottery next. Yeah, I always do that, or I do writing. I don't know. I do weird things in those Civ games. I don't know. I always try to go like the government, and just try to get to space flight. So I'm always looking at how fast can I get to writing? So I end up with, like, my military is all weak and puny, and they're still using caveman implements, but I've got, you know, democracy and parliaments and Hammurabi's code. Okay. So I'm just going to go with these, and maybe I'll upgrade these to cities. I don't know. I still don't have a great idea of how big this thing is, but I feel like it's pretty big. And I haven't set up kingdoms yet. I'm not super concerned about that. And I was going to do some videos on this. Maybe I will still. I like to do a kind of a combo of bottom up and top down when I'm working on creating a campaign and things like that. I think there are certain things that just work best when you do them top down, because people are going to ask you questions about it, and you sort of need to know the answers, at least to some of it. You know, extreme levels, who are the gods and what are they doing, and, you know, that kind of thing. And that's top down. The gods exist at a very high level. They're not, unless you're dealing with very local religions and stuff, is kind of wide. Then you have, you know, people are going to ask, well, I'm in a kingdom, who's the king? You know, that kind of thing. And they don't have to know everything about the kingdom, but they probably know who the king is, I imagine. I mean, there are probably some instances where they might not, and that would be interesting if they were just like, you're in such a far away part of the kingdom that who makes the rules for you doesn't really enter into things that much, because they're just not around. But so those kind of things. And of course, if you're asking about the kingdom, then maybe you're asking, what about the kingdom next door, or that kind of thing. So that, getting some of those top level elements, at least in some general sense, you don't have to know a ton, because the players aren't going to know a ton, but I like to know that stuff. But once I've got that stuff figured out, I kind of like to just go from the bottom up, because I don't want to spend time developing a whole bunch of stuff that the players aren't going to see, aren't going to impact them at all. I'd rather, if I'm going to spend time, I'd rather spend time on the stuff that they're going to have the best chance of actually interacting with, and not something that's, once you get into the nitty-gritty of it, they're so far away from that it's irrelevant. And that allows me to be flexible, because if I have an idea where I want the campaign to go, where I think it's going to go, and then the party zigs when I thought they were going to zag, maybe their idea is better, and I can just run with that. And I don't have to worry about all this stuff that I had sitting around, because they didn't get there. You know, if they come up with some great idea about the Deadlands way down here, and I just kind of kept it vague, then that lets me pivot easily. And I think when you're trying to, you know, people talk about running games with minimal prep, low prep, that kind of thing, being able to pivot, being able to be flexible is really the key. You can't be locked into a whole bunch of decisions, because when those decisions start to fall apart, then your game becomes very fragile, or it's very fragile because one chain fails and the whole thing fails. So you want to be flexible, you want to keep yourself open to stuff, then you want to leave in a lot of mystery and not tie yourself down. At least that's what I've found for myself. That's what's worked for me. Let's see. Oh, we got some more action going on in the chat. Roll20 has hex grids, doesn't have to be square. Okay. He's building an urban hex crawl environment currently with Roll20 as the base frame. That's cool. Roll20 is something I haven't used So I kind of got talked into running a campaign, which is why I'm doing this noodling in Worldographer to begin with. I have not used Roll20. I don't know how we're going to run it. I actually threw a call out on Twitter about, hey, did anyone know any good Discord bots for OSR? Because I'm leaning towards running it in an OSR system. But nobody said anything back to me. Apparently there aren't any. And maybe it just gives me, I'm always someone who's obviously interested in this stuff, and I haven't used Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, so maybe this is my opportunity to use one of those and get in there. But let's see, images are still squares, but they center on the hex center, so you can cut images to fit with transparent white space outside. Okay. So you can import a hex map in Roll20 and align it. Nice. Yeah, urban hex crawls are, I think, cool. I actually had some plans to do a video on an idea of running urban hex crawls, but I haven't done it yet. Ooh, what he's doing is for Ravnica. I wish I had the Ravnica book, and I enjoyed it, but I don't know anything about magic. So the setting seems interesting, but I'm not dying to run something there, just because I don't have a connection to it. I didn't play Magic growing up. I don't play Magic now. Yeah, I don't know. Discord's got a lot of cool bots, but they all seem to be, and I don't blame them, focused on stuff like 5e. That's the big market. OSR is very scattered too. It's like there's so many systems. What would you build it for? I kind of hope that there would be one out there, and maybe there is one, just nobody found it, and I haven't found it yet, that would just let me easily, I don't know, through JSON or through XML or something, allow me to just put in a bunch of stuff for a game. Because I think with OSR games like BX or something like that, it's fairly simple mechanically to be able to throw rules in. But didn't find anything so far. But maybe we'll end up being on Roll20. I have two people lined up, or actually the guy who recruited me has someone else lined up. I don't know what they want to play yet, so it's kind of, I'm just kind of, I don't know, it got my excitement going, which is why I'm doing this noodling, but I'm not sure yet what the system is. How many hexes across? Yeah, we're going to go, so we're going to zoom in. All right, let's see if it's not too big of a hit here. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. All right, it's doing stuff. And Wirecast is telling me that the stream has not gone down the toilet. Always good. I don't know whether I should see. This is one of those things, like, I don't know whether I should hit OK. Should I hit it? It's telling me OK. But if I hit it, is it going to do something? Are we going somewhere? Wait, it's doing something. Alright, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to let Worldographer do its thing for a minute. A hot minute. A cold minute. Ravnica would be a cool place to have a city hex crawl, because basically don't they have, a continent spanning city? So for sure. Faux show. Ravnica would be a place to do a city. I mean, there are lots of cool city. I mean, any city. You could do a urban hex crawl in Waterdeep if you wanted to. It's all about the scale and what you're going to do. If it's just a matter of, there's the hex crawl that's just A to B, as my daughter is back. Agnes, you got to be in bed. So it's late for me to be up. It's way too late for you to be up. Well, that's true. I am an adult. I don't always feel like an adult, but I guess I am an adult. Yeah, Waterdeep. I mean, if you're just looking to get A to B, as far as travel kind of hex crawl, then the small city's not going to take you very long. But if it's all about the exploration parts of a hex crawl, there's plenty of stuff in just about any city you can think of is going to have good stuff. Theros I'm interested in, just for the Greek connection. I don't know anything of Theros as far as magic goes, but when someone pitched it to me as this sucker for settings books. You're not going to come out again? Okay, good night. I'm a sucker for setting command pass. Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting high CPU usage. Alright, Wirecast is telling me my CPU usage is super high again. So apologize for any clipping. Right. Just going to write in the chat. Degrades while Worldographer is struggling. I can't see what's happening in Worldographer. It doesn't want to pop up. Worldographer, come out and play. Alright, Worldographer, I feel like this happened to me before. Where I was doing alright, and I went to zoom in to that kingdom level, and it just crunched. Let's see this. No data. I don't know. So hopefully it's working. But it's not spinning. Come on. No, still. We're still here. Cat is snoring next to me. Two cats. Agnes, bed. Bed. Big Worldographer figures out whatever it has to figure out and then gives me that RAM back. But it's still showing me that same. I like the ruins here. I don't know why this struck me. I just like, I don't know. There's a little kind of inlet. Seems like a cool spot. I change this terrain. I suppose if I have to, have a whole bunch of things to grasslands for the ruins, or not on the table, Bruce. Bruce, about dealing with the cats, dealing with my daughter, dealing with this dream. Such is life. Whoa, everything is just. It is 1,000 apologies. Because now, like, my laptop is totally, barely responsive. My mouse is stuck on this double arrow icon, which does nothing for me. I'm not trying to open or close anything. Yeah, poor. I know it's poor. What about physical books? All right, so he says a Worldographer. Theros is out on D&D Beyond with combo digital and physical purchase. I know they won't, simply because there's no reason for them to, because people will buy. People. Oh, I should have saved before this, just in case. Spinning. Wirecast still tells me I am struggling. Worldographer. I know it's not responding. I'm going to try to hold on to it. I've got faith in you, Worldographer. faith. Gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Oh, nothing. I don't know what Worldographer's doing, but I blame myself. And Venkman chimes in and says, I blame you too. Little Ghostbusters in there. Ghostbusters, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I know viewers are expecting or getting choppy performance. I know. I'm getting choppy performance. No performance is choppier than mine. Death March at this point. I kind of don't want to give up on it because I kind of like this area that I'm in. I've thrown some things in there. I should have saved it. If only that I could have just quit it now and then maybe restored it or done something else later. But now I'm really just beholden to this thing just churning and spinning and spinning and churning. Churning and spinning and spinning and churning. And doing... Oh, see if that's safe. I mean, I don't know if it's... I need to stop.